Greetings, ASA members. A through F continues to command the attention of the State Board and many of the rest of us as well. In its January meeting, the board asked the ATAC, that's the Arizona Technical Advisory Committee, to come back with some models for the high school that included growth. As you recall, it is still undecided what the model will be for high schools for this year, this current year, due to the menu of assessments. As you know, 44 high schools chose the ACT and 11 chose the SAT, while 500 plus others will still use AZ Merit one last time this spring. Those 44 schools are from districts or charters that, as this chart shows, actually constitute 24% of the state's high school population. Now, the ATAC discussed some of the difficulties they encountered trying to find a growth component to the model. The schools taking SAT and ACT have no prior test scores to measure students against. In other words, students take the test once. The board has a long-standing policy of measuring growth at the student level, not at the school level, rendering this almost impossible. So do you compare a particular student's 8th grade AZ Merit performance, say as partially proficient, to their 11th grade SAT or ACT performance level? Is that valid? The committee further reported considerations and unforeseen consequences of growth as seen in this chart. Considerations included, for example, high stakes accountability. Well, duh, these tests do have high stakes accountability. Results-based funding, of course, that's been a bad idea all along, and the state continues to add laws referencing A through F, which we are battling in the legislature because you don't even have an A through F system established, and they keep passing laws referencing A through F. The model is approved late in the year. Again, we went down this road last year. The feedback from the field preferring Model A, which, as we noted last week, has no growth component in it. And more on that in a minute. Unforeseen consequences, again, look at the chart, included appeals that could be based on the lack of research supporting linking growth from AZ Merit to the SAT or the ACT. Or another one, isn't this an idea? Litigation, if schools don't get results-based funding because of growth. In other words, I'll sue you because you used a model that wasn't based on research. Or how about this one? National attention on the board and ADE. One is tempted to say, who cares? But I would never say that. More importantly, note federal compliance, because the U.S. Department of Education still has not improved the waiver for the menu of assessments, and yet we're about 6 weeks away from actually administering that menu. And finally, sustainability. Yes, this might not be able to be sustained, and they might have to change it again. Finally, they return to the suggestion for Model A, seen here. It was preferred by 44% of the respondents. Now, 36% preferred sticking with the current formula for the vast majority of schools who are testing with AZ Merit. But unfortunately, the tail, those 55 schools, is wagging the dog, those 500 plus schools. And everything is being driven by the schools using ACT and SAT. And by the way, SAT did not respond to the state board's RFP for the menu of assessments, so next year those 11 schools will not be able to use the SAT. How about that? With Model A comes the request for a postponement of 1 year for the use of growth at the high school level. ATAC suggested that in that year, They could develop some ideas on growth, as this chart shows, by looking at the whole high school, which wouldn't follow that student level model, of course, or by analyzing progress in subgroups. They rejected the idea of two systems, one for the 500 plus schools and one for the 55 schools. So how did the board respond to this proposal that they use Model A and take a one-year break from any growth component for the high schools? The board did not respond well at all to this proposal. Board member Baker asks this question specifically. He said, why did you not return a model with growth as the State Board of Education specifically requested you to do? That answer was not a very good one, because they didn't do what they were told to do. Then virtually every board member said he or she was uncomfortable with a model for the high school that did not include a growth component. They then directed, again, the HAC to find some measure of growth. So we shall see what happens in March as A through F turns and turns and turns. If you want to discuss this whole issue in depth, come to our March 4th quarterly division meeting, where we will review the PowerPoint that was shown today, and we will discuss this in detail with Katja Baden, Deputy Director of the State Board of Education. Now, do you need to know anything else? All the upcoming ASA events are on our website, including the next Employee Discipline Training, March 8th, the Superintendent's Professional Day on April 8th at WestMech, the APEL Higher Ed Drive-In Conference on May 3rd at NAU, and of course the Institute for Excellence, June 2nd through 5th at Flagstaff, and we culminate our year with the ASA Summer Conference, June 9th through 11th. Take advantage of these professional development events.